Cornel West is a philosopher, activist, and professor at Princeton University.
All right, everyone, let's give it up for Cornel West.
All right. I'm so blessed to be here, my brothers and sisters. Absolutely. Absolutely. You see, a good brother of mine recently was asking me how I felt about black history and progression in America. And so I told him, you see, you're selling things at the most profitable price. It's inescapable. It's ubiquitous. You're selling things at the most profitable price to gain access to power and property and pleasure by any means you can. You see, on that are two different things. On one hand, you have like the frontier myth in America, right? So we gain some moral and political regeneration and exposition by means of conquest and dispossession of the people's land. And Richard Slotkin talks about this in terms of being a gunfighter nation. If, in fact, the major myth is that of the frontier is by being a gunfighter. So these heroes and cowboys with their guns. Now you can imagine on one level that's done because you want to expand the possibilities of our market, extract the resources of our land, even as you subordinate the people who are on that land. Well, on another level, it's a deep machismo ethic that is gangsterous, That should be a man who engages to put others down. You have to be tough and mean-spirited and cold and so forth. You got to be like this brother Rambo and Stallone who made big money in the last decade, right? So it's a gangsterist orientation that has a long history, as we know, in black and white, and in rap music these days. Gangster rap, which is deeply resistant of racism, but also centered on a machismo identity. They gotta be tough, like a soldier. To be like a military man. You gotta best, you gotta be better than the other military men that you're fighting against. At least you can out-police the police. Out-brutalize the brutality, the police who are being brutal, and so forth and so on. So you play exactly the same game, as it were. And oftentimes racial reasoning has been construed as an attempt for black people to all come together to protect each other, but it's usually the black men who serve as the policing agents. Therefore, the black women have their interests subordinated because the men are the ones who define and become the machismo heroes, and the women can't do that. So the best you can do is hold up a bloodstained banner of a black struggle rooted in moral vision, and yet acknowledging the fact that a power struggle would be fundamental to any change. Now, you don't want to become naive or become immoral at the same time, or become and give up on the broader possibilities of engaging as human beings in interaction that accents our humanness more than simply just our delusory foundations, race or gender or whatever. But ask the best you can do. Ask the best anyone can do at any given moment in human history. Is simply put up the best of what you see in the past with no guarantee whatsoever that, one, you will triumph, or two, that you will even gain a mass following. And I mean, for me, the real marking was the demise of the Black Panther Party, which was the last representation of internationalism and multiracialism grounded in the black community. So you see what the Black Panther Party was trying to do was to bring out the best of the boldness and the defiance of Malcolm X, which is often machismo-driven, but also quite authentic in terms of its critiques of white supremacy and link it to a type of internationalism that acknowledges the roles of people of color, that acknowledges the roles of progressive white persons, that acknowledges the roles of all whatsoever will identify with poor people and working people. And Huey Newton and Bobby Seale, given all their faults, did have that kind of all-embracing vision that people forget. But once they went under, it became very clear that we were in a moment of disarray. And of course, the business classes, conservative forces, especially corporate elites, they unified, consolidated, and they were able to bring to bear their own policies and reshaping society, primarily in their own interest. And that's what we've been up against for the past 19, 20 years. Yeah. See,